June 2nd, 1953, Queen Elizabeth II was crowned at Westminster Abbey by Dr. Geoffrey Fisher, the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Here, in the Abbey Church of St. Peter, Westminster, a great congregation of 7,000, come from every part of the world, awaits the arrival of Her Majesty.
Will you solemnly promise and swear to govern the people of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland and the other territories to any of them belonging or pertaining, according to their respective laws and customs?
I solemnly promise so to do.
This, however, was not the moment she became Queen. Her ascension to the throne happened the year before in 1952, following her father's death. Sky's royal correspondent Alistair Bruce explains how she found out the news.
She was 25 and she'd gone with her husband to Africa. Now, the capacity to remain in touch with the United Kingdom was very limited. And when the king died and he was discovered dead in the morning by his valet at 7:30 on the 6th of February 1952, very quickly the structure of government started to operate to prepare for a new reign. But the new queen, was nowhere to be found. They tried to ring her from Buckingham Palace, but they couldn't get through. But a journalist who'd been with the princess had heard the news on the wires and met a member of her staff, told him. He confirmed it. Then he told Prince Philip, and Prince Philip took the young princess, his wife, into the garden and told her not only that her dad was dead, but that she was now queen.
Prince Philip, who celebrated his 90th birthday last year, has been a pivotal part of the Queen's reign and her life during their 65 years of marriage. Thomas Archer Mills from the British Monarchist Society explains that they first met during her childhood.
Her Majesty was just 13 years old when they first met, and eventually love ensued, and they've been married for 60 plus years. So Prince Philip not only being there for the coronation, but even before that, during the turbulent times of her father's death and being with her at treetop villas in Kenya. Again, a very trying time, but always her rock and always ever steady for Her Majesty. Her Majesty might run issues of state and constitutional matters, but it is in fact Prince Philip who runs the household. So they have a very intricate and loving marriage and relationship. So without Prince Philip, I don't feel that Her Majesty's support network would have been as intimate and secure.
During her 60 years on the throne, Her Majesty has seen tremendous changes and challenges throughout the UK and the Commonwealth countries. Royal correspondent Alistair Bruce says it's both events across the world and in her family life that have shaped who she is and given her more empathy with ordinary people.
The Queen has watched, after all, Britain go through periods of war. She's seen the issues in Korea, she's seen what went on in the Falklands, she's seen the difficulties in Northern Ireland. I think that's all shaped the way in which she has sought to serve the nation. There have been constitutional changes, a number of different prime ministers. But perhaps the joy of seeing her children and grandchildren find their way in the lives of the way we all have to must have, in its own way, with its ups and downs, shaped her as a mother and then as a grandmother. And thereby she better manages to link with all those other people in the country who've got exactly the same family sort of structures. And she learns from that, and I think it helps her deliver her role as monarch.
One event that was both a personal tragedy and became a national one was the death of Princess Diana in 1997, whilst the Queen was at Balmoral Castle with her family. Her initial refusal to return to London or fly the royal standard at half-mast led to criticism by many. She did eventually return and gave a televised broadcast to the nation. Thomas Archer Mills from the BMS believes she was placed in an impossible situation.
Very difficult when trying to find a good balance between the privacy of family and the matters of state, which we know the death of Princess Diana did turn into, with the outpouring of grief from the peoples of Britain and expecting their Queen to console them and to be there for them. I think that pressure on her as to whether she was going to attend to her grandchildren and Prince Charles or come down from Balmoral to tend to her people, That was very trying for Her Majesty, and a decision that I don't think I would ever want to have to make.
Queen Elizabeth's ability to bounce back from this period of unpopularity can be attributed to some of her strongest qualities. Alistair Bruce picks out the two he thinks have helped her most during her reign.
She's always interested, and she puts herself last. Now, what I mean by that is her face always interested, always wanting to hear what people have got to say about their lives, what they do. And then this issue of putting herself last. She's not someone who wants people to bow down and go and fetch her this and that. She's much happier just getting on quietly with her life, feeding her dogs, going for a walk, and being, as it were, available.
The Queen's Christian faith has also played an integral part. A recent poll showed 73% of people believe she should keep the title of Supreme Governor of the Church of England and Defender of the Faith. The Reverend Canon Sheila Bamber says she's always defended the important role that faith plays.
She's demonstrated a complete openness to matters of faith. So as well as being the defender of the faith for the Christian Church, you could argue that she has been the defender of faith, really. I don't think she would necessarily want to own that entirely, but she's helped to keep the voice of faith in the public arena in a way that's quite remarkable without taking up any kind of entrenched position, but simply demonstrating how the values of faith shine through in all that she does.
As the Queen reflects on her reign during the Diamond Jubilee celebrations, thoughts will also turn to the future of the monarchy. Royal historian Hugo Vickers says it'll be a celebration of both the past and future.
The Queen now has two generations of the family ahead of her, Prince Charles and then Prince William and Catherine. In that sense, it is a mixture, really, I suppose, of looking at the past and looking at the future. I think there'll be a lot of people looking back over these 60 years and being amazed by the change that's occurred in the Queen's reign. When you think of when the Queen first came to the throne, there were not very many people had televisions, and now we have this extraordinary internet world that we live in. In that sense, it's both going to be a time to look forward and a time to look back.